So our next question comes from Adam C. Adam says, "Hey guys, I've been loving the podcast. Thank you for all the invaluable information." Adam, we love that you listen to the podcast. Thank you so much. My girlfriend and I are planning to get married in the next 2 years, and we are both interested in Robert's idea of both buying multifamily properties with FHA loans and living in them until we get married. Can you go more in depth on how to go about doing that without overextending ourselves financially? Robert, what do you think?
I love this strategy. More and more people should do it. And I would say the first step in this is understanding each of your financial situations as they stand currently. And that's by doing a budget and figuring out your debt to income ratio. See what you qualify for, so you know you're not buying too much property to where it does overextend you. And then just really work within the confines of the budget and the debt to income ratio so you know where you're at. That would be step one. Step two would be figuring out how you're going to achieve this and what program you're going to use. You're going to want to look at the FHA program, but also the new Fannie Mae 5% down program. For anyone that's listening, this is a great program. You can buy up to $1.3 million of property. I'm not saying you should max it out. You can buy up to 4 doors, and the requirements are much lower than even the FHA loan. And this is great because you only are required to put 5% down. So that's where I would look first, or the FHA. So that's number 2. Then number 3 in this strategy is figuring out where you want to have these properties. I'm sure you have an area in mind where it has good long-term growth and you see the capital appreciation and the gentrification happening. So that would be step number 3 in figuring it out, because you have to look at it this way. When you buy that duplex, triplex, or quadplex, you're going to be currently lowering down your monthly overhead drastically for each of you, because if you live in the one unit for the required 1 year prior to your marriage, the tenants are going to be paying your mortgage for the most part, if not fully. So this is a great strategy for both of you to do. And it really just comes down to identifying how much you can afford and where you're at based on the numbers of the properties you're looking at, and then understanding what the numbers will be once it's purchased and you have the tenants involved. Because not only are you going to have the cash flow, hopefully, but it's the reduced overhead that you will have living in it, because essentially these tenants are going to be paying the mortgage, but then also you have the capital appreciation and the tax write-off because you're going to be having that depreciation. So there are more than just the strategy in itself that brings this to life and makes it a great way to start off your marriage. Because look at it this way. Let's say you do this year, you live in it for 2024, then you get married, then you fill each of those units. You're starting off the marriage as one entity with 4 doors, 6 doors, or 8 doors of revenue every single month, which is just going to be incredible when you start off your financial journeys together, having that amount of income and capital appreciation every single year.
Yeah, that was a really good answer. To speak probably more tactically, I think what you should probably do, Adam, is, what are rents going for right now in your area? Is it 1,800, 2,000, 2,400, right? What is like the average rent in your area? For example, in my neighborhood, I think rent right now is around like the 2,000 to 2,200 a month range. So let's assume you borrow $400,000 for this. That is a monthly payment of about $3,500, right? So make sure when you do this and you're thinking about this, it's like, okay, I got to pay $3,500 a month out to the lender, and I'm renting this out for, call it 2,000 or 2,200, which means I still am on the hook for $1,000, assuming everything goes right. We all know everything doesn't always go right all the time, so you want to make sure you maybe set aside a little bit more money for repairs or escrow, or for example, house insurance for me was increased by 40% between 2022 and 2023. So there's a lot of like little things like that that are just going to kind of jump in your way here. So make sure whenever you're doing this, both you and your soon-to-be wife, you all have all of the numbers fleshed out. Every single detail is figured out, because the last thing you want to do is, to your point, get overextended financially. You have a duplex, she has a duplex, and your mortgage is $4,000 a month, but you're not bringing in as much rental income as you thought. And then even after you guys eventually move in together, both of your duplexes aren't cash flowing, right? There's a lot of like things that could go wrong here, but it will not happen if you flesh your numbers out and make sure that you have every single thing figured out.
I love it. Great question, Adam.